Have you ever felt like you're trying so hard, yet still falling behind? You work diligently, you live honestly, you keep pushing forward, but then one day, you look around and suddenly realize those who succeed seem to keep soaring ahead, while you're still stuck somewhere between worry, confusion, and exhaustion. You're not alone in feeling that way. The truth is, this game of life isn't fair. Some are born with everything: wealth, connections, a privileged environment. And you? Maybe you entered life empty-handed, or worse, burdened from the start. But you know what? The game may not be fair, but your mindset is yours to control. And that's exactly where everything begins to change. There's something curious about this world. Two people can start with the same background, same circumstances, yet one rises, while the other stays stuck. It's not always because one worked harder, or the other got lucky. It's because they thought differently. Mindset is what redraws the map of life. It shapes your behaviors. It determines how you act, how you respond to hardship, and whether you move forward or stay behind your past self. And yet, here's the sad part. No one teaches us how to think properly. School gives you knowledge. Society teaches you how to survive. But rarely does anyone teach you how to observe your inner world, how to choose the right people to surround yourself with, how to manage emotions, or how to stay grounded in a chaotic world without losing yourself. That's why some people, even at 30 or 40 years old, still operate with the mindset of an overgrown child. They don't understand why they're exhausted, why they feel stuck, why life feels like an endless cycle of meaningless motion. The 35 truths in this video aren't life hacks. They're not get-rich-quick tips. And they're certainly not feel-good advice to help you pretend everything's okay. These truths are deep reflections on how the world works, how humans mature, and how each of us must wake ourselves up if we want to shift the direction of our lives. Some truths might sting, but if you have the courage to face them, you'll grow stronger, day by day. Some insights might make you question everything. Your habits, your beliefs, even your entire way of living. And that's a good thing. Because if you don't change your perspective, you'll keep walking the same road, no matter how hard you try. Are you ready? Let's walk through each truth. Not just to hear and forget, but to reshape the way you think. And from there, change the game. Have you ever felt like you're putting in so much effort, yet still not progressing as fast as others? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. We're all striving, ambitious, hungry for change. And yet, some people seem to soar effortlessly, like a kite caught in the wind, while others move like a stuck vehicle, crawling forward with exhaustion and frustration. So what makes the difference? It lies in how they think, and the habits shaped by that thinking. People tend to judge each other by outcomes. But outcomes don't appear out of nowhere. Before the result, there's behavior. Before behavior, there's decision. And beneath every decision, there is mindset. Mindset is the root. It's not loud like actions. It's not easily measured like achievements. But it silently determines how you react, how you choose, and how you build your life's trajectory. Take someone who's always busy. Their calendar is packed. They're constantly moving from task to task. On the surface, they seem productive. But ask them a simple question. Where are you actually headed? Chances are, you'll get a shrug. Being busy without a guiding mindset is just another way to avoid facing yourself. True success isn't about moving fast. It's about knowing when to pause and think. In a world drowning in information and distraction, the ability to slow down and think deeply is a rare gift. The truly intelligent block out 1 or 2 hours a day. Not to scroll, not to escape, but simply to think. Not daydreaming, not anxious overthinking, but intentional reflection. On what they're doing, on why they're doing it, on how to solve complex problems with simple insights. Because those who think deeply can see through the fog and recognize what truly matters. And what about habits? If mindset is the root, then habits are the trunk. Every repeated behavior, no matter how small, quietly shapes who you become. There's a fascinating psychological insight. If you help someone too much, too fast, they'll take it for granted. But if you help slowly, over time, they'll grow grateful. That's not just social strategy. It's a mindset of boundary setting, a habit of principled behavior. Likewise, if you're constantly lenient with yourself, you'll lose direction. But if you train yourself in small, Consistent disciplines. Waking up on time, reading 10 pages, not letting emotions dictate behavior. Those small wins become the foundation of major transformations. Your habits are the visible expression of your mindset. One of the most dangerous mindsets sounds like this: I'm not ready. I'm not good enough yet. I need more time to prepare. It sounds reasonable, but the truth is, no one is ever fully ready at the start. Preparation has value, but without action, even the best plans stay trapped on paper. A healthy mindset knows how to start, even before perfection. And a strong habit knows how to keep going, even when the steps feel small. Take a moment to look at your current life. What you have, or don't have, is an honest reflection of the mindsets and habits you've practiced over time. If you're not happy with the result, don't blame the world. Don't blame your starting point. Start by examining how you think each day, and changing the habits you repeat each morning. Because if you want a different outcome, you'll need to become a different version of yourself. And that version begins not on the outside, but inside your thinking, and grows through your daily actions. Do you know what silently shapes a person's character, mindset, and destiny? Something most of us rarely notice? It's your living environment. It's not loud like advice. It's not tangible like a written plan. But its power is immense. If you're in the wrong environment, no matter how talented you are, you'll slowly fade. On the flip side, if you place yourself in the right setting, where excellence is the norm, where people challenge you, and where high standards are lived out, even if you're not exceptional yet, you'll grow faster than you think. Think of a seed. A good seed planted in dry, barren soil with no sunlight, no nutrients, might never sprout. But an ordinary seed, given rich soil, steady care, and nourishment, can rise, thrive, and become something even it never imagined. You are that seed, and the world around you is your soil. Many people have potential. They have talent, hunger, and ambition, but they live in environments where everyone around them talks small, mocks effort, and drags down anyone who dreams big. Imagine this. Each morning, you wake up and hear people say, "Why work so hard? Just survive day by day. Stop dreaming. That's just life. Success? That's for people with connections. Not us." The first time you hear it, maybe you resist. But if you hear it long enough, you start doubting yourself. You lose motivation. And the worst part? You start to believe those thoughts are normal. Here's the hard truth. The place you're living in might already be defining your limits, without you even realizing it. There's a saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Not because you want to copy them, but because you're constantly absorbing their thoughts, energy, beliefs, and behaviors. Spend time with sharp minds. You'll start asking better questions. Be around the disciplined, and self-control feels normal. Live among creatives, and you'll dare to think differently. But stay in a mediocre, low-energy environment long enough, and you'll slowly lose your fire. You'll begin living a limited version of who you could have become. Someone once said, every slow step you take in a weak environment forms a cycle of stagnation. Walk slowly long enough, and you'll never catch up. That's why choosing your environment is a strategic life decision. Like picking the right boat before setting sail. Storms may come, but at least you're not patching holes every day. You don't have to be where everyone is smarter or more successful than you. But you need to be where people inspire you, challenge you, and remind you that you're capable of more. I get it. Not everyone can instantly change their environment. You may be in a small town. You may not have the resources yet to move. But environment isn't just a physical space. It's also the space inside your mind. Ask yourself, who are you following online? Who are you spending time with each week? What kind of content do you consume daily? Even if you can't leave your current soil just yet, you can plant something new in your inner world. Curate what you read. Follow people who inspire. Connect with those who live with purpose. If you remember one thing from today, let it be this. If you can't change the world around you, change your position in that world. Don't let your environment dull your clarity, kill your ambition, or sap your energy. Because once you shift your environment, you're shifting the entire playing field for your own growth. Here's a simple question that makes many people pause. At what age did you truly wake up? Not from sleep, but from the illusions of life. From blind routines. From everything you were told about success, identity, and society. You see, no one really teaches us how to wake up. We grow up being told to be good, study hard, get a degree. But very few of us are taught how to face injustice, failure, or the quiet emptiness that creeps in at night. And because no one teaches it, most of us wake up too late. Some don't realize how the world works until they're 35 or 40. But by then, they're already tied down by jobs, bills, families, and obligations. They want to break free, but can't. They want to restart, but it feels too late. They want to learn, but they no longer have time. Others, born into privilege, are awakened by proxy at a young age. They don't struggle with basic needs. They're exposed early to a bigger world. They learn how to think critically, how to choose mentors, how to play smarter games. It's an invisible advantage, one not everyone gets. Youth is our most powerful asset. And yet, it's often wasted chasing short-term thrills and vague distractions. In our 20s, we spend time trying to love, to fail, to build, to break. That's okay. Experimenting is how we learn. But the real issue? We often try without reflecting. We fall without asking, why did I fall? What did I learn? And so, year by year, we grow older without ever truly growing up. Meanwhile, some people wake up very early in life. And they don't need life to slap them awake. They just know, if I don't learn how to manage money, I'll struggle later. If I don't build independent thinking, I'll be easily misled. If I don't choose the right people and path, I'll stay lost. These people self-reflect. They ask questions. They observe the world and themselves. And because of that, they grow stronger, faster, deeper, even if they didn't start with much. There's a great quote from Bill Gates when asked, "What scares you the most?" He replied, "Young people who are working day and night, constantly creating, because they are the ones who will change the world." It sounds funny, but think about it. Those who wake up early have time to fail, to adjust, to build momentum. They're not afraid of hard things. They know youth isn't for comfort. It's for sharpening the mind and heart. It's for developing skills, building a network, crafting a strategic mindset, because they understand, if they don't act early, eventually, life won't leave room for getting ready. Someone who wakes up early doesn't spend youth chasing validation. They don't need a relationship to escape loneliness. They don't make money just to flex. They don't try to prove they're better than anyone else. They understand, big goals don't need to be rushed. As long as they're heading in the right direction, every day is one step closer. On the other hand, those who spend their youth in constant comfort, in shallow relationships, casual jobs, and aimless pleasure, will face a harsh truth. At 30, you begin losing opportunities. At 35, you start getting left behind. At 40, you look back and realize you're no different from 25. Except now, you're tired. Waking up at that point? It's not too late, but it will hurt. So if you're listening to this video while you're still young, please don't wait. And if you're already past 30, start now. Because every day you wake up earlier than others is one more day you get to move ahead. And sometimes, just one step ahead is all it takes to change the game. There's a strange paradox in life. When we're young, we barely care about money. But as we grow older, we realize almost every pressure we face revolves around two things: finances and responsibilities. And tragically, by the time we realize that, it's already too late. Modern society operates on an invisible system. In this system, money is more than a tool. It's a symbol of freedom, opportunity, and even self-worth. Without money, you can't afford proper healthcare. You can't say no to toxic jobs. You can't live by your values. And slowly, you begin to compromise. You give up dreams. You accept choices you never wanted. You settle, not because you want to, but because you have no other option. But here's the deeper issue. Money itself isn't the main problem. The bigger problem is this. Most people don't understand money until it's already ruined their lives. They don't know how to manage cash flow. They can't tell the difference between assets and liabilities. They don't realize that one bad decision, like credit card debt, buying a home too early, or investing in the wrong thing, can cost them 5 to 10 years of recovery. And it's not because they're lazy. It's because no one ever taught them. In working class or middle class families, there's usually one great hope. Just get a college degree, and you'll change your life. But today's world doesn't work that way anymore. A college diploma no longer guarantees a good job. Knowledge doesn't live in textbooks alone. And changing your life can't happen without changing your mindset. Many young people graduate, get a job, live paycheck to paycheck. Soon they discover their income can't keep up with rising costs. Financial stress grows heavier each year. Their parents are aging, their kids need more. Around age 30, the harsh reality hits. But by then, they're already behind. And the exhausting race to catch up begins, draining them physically, emotionally, spiritually. The world seems unfair, but in truth, it runs on rules. Rules only visible to those who are alert enough to see them. The rich often stay rich, not because they're greedy, but because they know how to keep money, grow money, and teach their kids the value of money. The poor often stay poor, not because they're lazy, but because they lack guidance, exposure, and financial literacy. And if you're in that second group, the only way forward is this. Begin your journey toward awareness. Awareness is the true beginning of change. When you understand that money is a tool, not the end goal. A job isn't just for survival, but a platform for growth. Social networks aren't just about comfort, but about learning and evolving. Then your whole perspective shifts. You stop envying the rich and start studying how they think. You stop blaming your parents and start creating your own opportunities. You stop resenting society and start understanding it like a system you must learn to navigate. So how do you build awareness? There are no shortcuts, but there are simple steps you can take, starting today. Read one book on personal finance. Track every dollar in and out each month. Learn to invest early, even if it's just $50 a week. Talk to people who've achieved financial independence. And most importantly, have the courage to face your true financial reality without blame. You may not be able to change society. You may not be able to change your starting point. But you can change how you understand the game. Because once your awareness shifts, everything else begins to shift too. And in a world run by money, information, and attention, even if you start at the bottom, if you learn the rules of the game, you can still rewrite your future. There's a strange irony in life. The less inner value a person has, the more they depend on external relationships to feel complete. They need others to love them, just to feel worthy. They need validation, before they can move forward. They need someone to lean on, just to feel safe. But in a world that never stops changing, if your value doesn't come from within, sooner or later, you'll get swept away. Most of us judge relationships based on emotions. Do we vibe well? Do they love me? Are we happy together? But emotions are fleeting. Value is what endures. Strong people don't build relationships out of neediness. They build them from mutual respect, growth, and the desire to elevate each other. Ask yourself, what value are you bringing to the people around you? Not in terms of money or looks, but in terms of impact. Are you making their lives better? Can you listen, support, and walk beside them through difficulty? Can you inspire them to become their best selves? If the answer is yes, that's a relationship worth keeping. If it's no, then no matter how close you are, cracks will eventually form. Self-worth isn't something you claim with compliments. It shows in how you live, how you behave, and how you influence others. People with value don't need to prove anything. They don't need to show off. They don't try to please everyone. They walk calmly, because they know who they are. And they don't need external validation to confirm it. One of the biggest mistakes people make is this. They shrink themselves to keep a relationship alive. But if you have to become someone else to keep someone around, that person is not meant for you. And if someone only stays when you're weak, they'll walk away the moment you grow strong. So don't be afraid to lose people just because you're growing. The ones who remain after you change are the ones who truly belong. Yes, we all want love. That's human. But if you don't love yourself first, you'll likely choose the wrong people. Those without self-worth are easier to manipulate. Those without personal standards are easily misled. Those without self-respect stay in toxic relationships because they don't believe they deserve better. But once your self-worth becomes clear, you'll recognize the lines that must not be crossed. You'll know who's worthy of entering your world and who isn't. And here's the beautiful part. When you've built solid self-worth, you won't have to search for the right relationship. You'll become the kind of person that right people are drawn to. The competent will seek you for collaboration. The strong will choose you for partnership. Those who love genuinely will treasure you. Not because you need them, but because you deserve to be valued. So how do you build self-worth? No need for grand gestures. Just start with simple habits. Take care of your health. Your body is the foundation of your will. Expand your knowledge. Sharp thinking opens doors. Keep your word. Trust is your most powerful invisible asset. Learn to say no at the right time. Respecting yourself teaches others to do the same. Remember this: self-worth is the one thing you can fully control. And it's the one thing that makes you irreplaceable. When you're strong enough, you won't chase after people, you'll walk beside them. When you're grounded, you won't fear being alone, you'll choose worthy company. And when you're truly confident, you won't hold on to those who want to leave. Because deep down, you'll know, the ones meant for you never need to be begged to stay. Here's a simple question, but it carries weight. When things don't go your way, how do you respond? Your attitude toward adversity, rejection, failure, even your silence in the face of life's chaos, reveals who you are and how far you'll go. In today's world, knowledge can be learned, skills can be practiced, but attitude and resilience can't be borrowed. You might start on the same line as others, but one setback, one misunderstanding, one betrayal, and suddenly, it's your attitude and resilience that decide. Will you survive or give up? Attitude isn't what you show off for compliments. It's how you respond when no one is watching. You got rejected? Someone with the right attitude will ask, "What am I missing?" Then quietly improve. You've been misunderstood? The resilient don't waste time defending themselves. They let results speak for them. You've been knocked down by life? The strong allow themselves to be tired, but never to quit. There's something all long-term successful people share. They don't lose their temper easily. They don't give up quickly. Because in a world full of noise and chaos, composure is a weapon, not because they lack emotion, but because they've trained themselves to control it, instead of being controlled by it. A resilient person isn't someone who never cries. It's someone who wipes their tears and keeps moving. And resilience doesn't come from big, heroic acts. It comes from tiny, daily decisions, choosing to persist, even when there's no visible result, keeping your promises, even if no one's watching, standing up again after each fall, even if no one lends a hand, choosing kindness, even when it goes unnoticed. People like that don't need to talk about strength. They live it. And the world eventually notices. Someone once asked me, "How can you tell if someone is truly resilient?" I answered, "Watch them when no one else is around." People without resilience fall into negativity. They blame, they give up. But the resilient, when life gets tough, they become even more calm. When left alone, they turn inward and build strength. Because they know, no one can help you forever. And no one owes you anything. A strong attitude and solid resilience are the foundations of lasting success. People believe they need skills, knowledge, and networks to go far. And that's true. But without the right mindset and inner strength, those assets become burdens too heavy to carry. You'll quit too soon, blame the world too often, and convince yourself you're not enough after just one rejection. But you know what's truly dangerous? Not failure. It's failing once and never trying again. Real strength means knowing no one wins every time. But as long as I don't quit, I still have a shot. That's why, in every long-distance race, the winner isn't the fastest runner. It's the one who endures the longest. So, how do you train your attitude and resilience? There's no magic formula. But here are 3 simple things you can do daily. 1. Pause before reacting. Before speaking. Before acting. Wait a few seconds. 2. Focus only on what you can control. Don't waste energy on things outside your power. 3. Own your responsibility. Whatever happens, ask, what can I do to make this better? And above all, remember this. Your greatest enemy isn't the outside world. It's your own comfort zone. Once you control your attitude, once you hold your ground, you no longer need to defeat anyone else. Because you, just as you are, have already become someone worth respecting. Most people think life only changes after something dramatic. A big event, a major turning point, a personal crisis. But more often than not, life doesn't change after a storm. It changes after small, quiet, consistent rains. And those rains are your habits. Habits quietly shape who you are. They don't shout, they don't sparkle, but they show up, day after day. Like invisible chisels slowly carving a new version of you. You won't remember how many pages you've read, how many mornings you got up early, how many temptations you resisted. But one day you'll look in the mirror and realize you're no longer who you used to be. There's a quote I love. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Everyone has dreams, but very few turn them into reality. Not because they lack talent, but because they never crossed that bridge called discipline. Discipline means doing the right thing, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early when you're tired, reading when your mind is lazy, pushing forward, even when no one sees, and no one praises you. Ever wonder why some people, seemingly average, suddenly rise in just a few years? The answer isn't in doing something extraordinary. It's in doing ordinary things extraordinarily well, consistently. You don't need to change the world today. You just need to do one small thing right, and repeat it. 10 minutes of focused learning each morning, right pointing arrow, 10 to 15 books a year. 30 minutes of exercise, right pointing arrow, better health, clearer mind. 15 minutes of journaling, right pointing arrow, better self-awareness, better emotional control. No habit is too small if you stick to it. But here's what most people ignore. You can't build strong habits if you keep indulging yourself. Self-indulgence is discipline's worst enemy. It whispers to you every morning, sleep a bit more, you can work out tomorrow. No one's watching, why bother? And every time you listen to it, you walk away from a better version of yourself. Successful people aren't superhuman. They get tired, they procrastinate, they feel like giving up. But here's the difference. They have principles. And they stick to those principles, even when their emotions change. That's the core of personal discipline. Remember this. Discipline isn't restriction. It's a form of sustainable freedom. You don't need others to push you, because you push yourself. You don't fear being left behind, because you're always moving forward. You don't wait for opportunities, you create them daily. If you observe closely, people with strong discipline often seem simple. They're not loud, not flashy, but they have a calm, steady energy, because they know where they're going, what they're doing, and every step they take has intention behind it. So if you feel like you're not doing enough, not moving fast enough, don't be discouraged. Check your habits. Are you repeating what's good every day? Are you living by clear principles? Or are your emotions deciding the direction of your life? Transforming your life doesn't need a breakthrough. It needs deliberate repetition. And the sooner you begin, the farther ahead you'll be compared to those still wandering in delay. Discipline is the love you show to the better version of yourself. Start today. Pick one right thing. Do it. Then do it again tomorrow. Who knows? A few months from now, you might not even recognize the person you've become. If you ask me, what separates truly mature people from everyone else? I won't say wealth. I won't say fame. I'll say one word: emotions. Emotional mastery might sound soft, internal, or even abstract, but in reality, it's the foundation of everything. Your career, your finances, your relationships, even your mental health. You can learn new skills. You can buy degrees. You can hire mentors. But if you can't control your emotions, all your success can vanish in a single moment of impulsiveness. In today's noisy, chaotic, fast-paced world, the strong aren't the ones who are always right. They're the ones who stay calm when everything goes wrong. They don't react on impulse. They don't let others push their emotional buttons. They listen to their feelings, but they don't let those feelings drive the car. Think back to the last time you got really angry. You probably said things you shouldn't have said, made decisions you later regretted. Emotions are natural, but reacting without managing them is a recipe for disaster. Mature people understand. Feeling sad doesn't mean you give up. Feeling angry doesn't mean you lash out. Being hurt doesn't give you the right to hurt others. Instead, they pause. They breathe. They observe themselves. They ask, where is this emotion coming from? Is this real, or just a reaction? What's the best response? Not just the easiest release? Sounds simple, right? But it takes practice. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing feelings. It's not about pretending to be fine. It's about recognizing, accepting, and then intentionally redirecting your emotional energy. There's one question I often ask myself when emotions rise. Will this emotion help me become the person I want to be? If the answer is no, I let it go. Not because I'm weak, but because I value my long-term path more than my short-term ego. Ever notice something about great leaders, successful entrepreneurs, and deeply influential people? They all have one thing in common: emotional self-control, not because they don't feel things, but because they understand. In a world where everyone is reacting, the one who reflects retains the power of choice. Emotions are tools. They tell you when you're hurt, in love, afraid, hopeful, but they're just that, tools. The moment you let the tool become the master, you become easy to manipulate. You fall into the same destructive cycles. Arguments over small things, bad decisions made in anger, lost relationships due to a single emotional outburst. So how do you develop emotional mastery? It starts with something surprisingly simple: self-observation. When emotions rise, name them. When someone upsets you, don't blame. Ask, am I reacting, or just projecting? Write down your emotions daily. Over time, you'll spot patterns. And the earlier you recognize a pattern, the easier it is to change. And most importantly, surround yourself with calm people. Their energy will help stabilize yours. Here's what you need to remember. Emotions are part of being human, but character is the part you choose. The strongest people aren't those who never feel anger, fear, or pain. They're the ones who stay anchored, even when those emotions hit hard. Emotional mastery isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming truly free. Free from impulsive reactions. Free from guilt after losing control. Free to choose how you live. Because no one else controls you, unless you let them. In a world where everyone's busy, one thing is becoming rare: people who know what they're truly chasing. It's not that they lack talent, opportunities, or motivation. They just lack something even more essential: the ability to choose what truly matters, and the courage to let go of the rest. Today, multitasking is praised as a top-tier skill. We try to juggle multiple tasks, chase several goals, maintain many relationships all at once. But the more we chase, the more exhausted we become. The more directions we pursue, the more confused we feel. And the more we want, the more we feel like we're going nowhere. Because here's the truth: success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things, intentionally. Steve Jobs once said, "The most important decisions aren't about what you're going to do, but what you're willing to not do." Sounds simple, but in an age of noise and distraction, this may be one of the hardest skills to master. To say no, to cut out, to stay focused on one thing. Successful people are rarely those who are good at everything. They're the ones who bet all their time, energy, and attention on a single meaningful goal. They know, every day has only 24 hours. You only get one life. And without focus, even hard work won't move the needle. There's a powerful image worth remembering. Sunlight spread wide brings warmth, but sunlight focused can burn through steel. Your goals work the same way. You can want it all: success, love, recognition, adventure. But unless you know what your core is and what's just noise, you'll end up feeling scattered, tired, and stuck. So how do you find your big goal? Ask yourself, 1. If I could only pursue one thing in the next 5 years, what would it be? 2. Is it important enough that I'd willingly say no to other things for it? 3. Can I keep doing it even when no one notices or applauds? If your answers are clear, congratulations. You've found your compass. If not, don't panic. It's not because you're weak. It's because the world around you is pulling you in too many directions. Here's a strange truth of modern life. The more capable you are, the more distractions will find you. You'll be offered more opportunities, more invitations, more good-looking things. But without the ability to prioritize, you'll be caught in the trap of busyness with no depth. Busy, but going nowhere. Productive, but without impact. Hardworking, but never fulfilled. This is where the art of priority comes in. It's not about doing more, faster. It's about ruthlessly eliminating what doesn't matter. Giving quality time to just a few things. Knowing you can't have everything, but you can have what matters most. Try using the 80-20 rule. 80% of results come from 20% of actions. 80% of progress comes from 20% of your habits. 80% of your happiness comes from 20% of your relationships. So why not pour your time, energy, and focus into that 20%? You don't need to write 100 goals for the year. You just need one clear, meaningful goal. Break it down. Take small steps every day. Improve just 1% each day. Because the clearer your goal is, the better you'll know what to ignore, what to pause, and what to fully commit to. Focus is not about staring harder. It's about knowing what not to look at. It's about looking away from what distracts you, so you can give your best to what defines you. That's how truly successful people operate. They don't let life drag them around. They lead their life towards something intentional. And you can do the same. But only if you pause, today, to ask yourself one powerful question. Is what I'm chasing really worth it? In this world, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And no success ever just happens. Anyone you see standing at the top, they paid a price to be there. The only difference is when they paid it. Before the spotlight, or after the regret. You can choose to pay with discipline today. Or pay with disappointment tomorrow. You can trade comfort now for momentum later. Or trade time now for the pain of stagnation down the line. Success, no matter the form, has a cost. And a mature person is someone who understands this deeply. Success doesn't begin with applause or fanfare. It starts with choices that are deeply uncomfortable. Waking up early while others sleep in. Working an extra hour while friends are out. Saying no to parties, games, social media, so you can focus on what truly matters. Training in silence, no praise, no audience, no recognition. Sounds tough? Maybe. But those who truly understand the price of success are willing to pay up front. So they don't have to suffer later. The world only sees the end result, success or failure. But between those two is a long series of very real trade-offs. You want a stable career? You'll trade away some leisure. You want financial independence? You'll give up short-term indulgence. You want a healthy body? You'll give up comforting bad habits. Every gain comes with a give-up. So the real question is, what are you giving up to get what you want, and is it worth it? True success isn't about how much you can take on. It's about what you're willing to let go of, to protect a goal that truly matters. Average people want everything, and try to juggle it all. High performers choose one or two things, and let the rest go. The less you want, the closer you get. Here's a hard truth. Many people aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of success if it comes with loneliness, pressure, or imbalance. That's why you must ask yourself, not every form of success is worth chasing. If you have to sacrifice your health, your values, your family time, just to sit in a title you don't even love, that's not success. That's self-abandonment. So before chasing anything, pause and ask, am I truly willing to pay the price? And is that price even fair? If the answer is yes, commit fully. If the answer is not sure, then stop early. Before you waste time on something empty. Real success doesn't turn you into someone else. It deepens who you already are. It strengthens your character. It multiplies your impact. But only if you're willing to say no to short-term pleasures, easy temptations, shiny opportunities that don't serve your long game. Don't get it twisted. Trade-offs don't mean total sacrifice. They mean learning to delay gratification, so you can earn something greater. You skip a night out today, not because you're boring, but because you're investing in tomorrow. You pass up an exciting offer, not because it's bad, but because you know you're building something bigger. The price of success will be paid, by everyone. The wise pay early, with sweat, silence, and discipline. The unaware pay later, with regret, blame, and missed chances. You can choose pain now, to live free later. Or choose ease now, and stay stuck forever. The choice is yours. But never forget, success is never free. Have you noticed something? In daily life, most people make decisions based on what they see happening, not on what's actually operating underneath. We see someone succeed right-pointing arrow and assume they're just lucky. We see a company grow right-pointing arrow and assume it's just smart strategy. We see someone fall apart right-pointing arrow and think it was just one mistake. But the truth is, behind every result lies a system. Systems thinking is the ability to see hidden connections, causal loops, and patterns, rather than just reacting to surface-level symptoms. For example, a struggling student might not be lazy, but trapped in a system that lacks inspiration, direction, or support. A reckless spender might not be irresponsible, but shaped by years of scarcity, poor modeling, and emotional voids. When you think in systems, You stop asking, "Why is this happening?" and start asking, "What part of the system is creating this pattern over and over?" And when you ask that, you stop being a firefighter and become an architect of the entire fireproof system. Systems thinking doesn't make you smarter overnight, but it does help you make smarter, more sustainable decisions. You stop reacting based on emotion alone. You understand how today's action affects tomorrow's outcomes. And you start seeing the web of forces behind a result, instead of blaming just one thing. In our noisy, chaotic world, those who think in systems hold a massive advantage. Because they think long, not short. They connect the dots, not just react to them. They respond reflectively, not impulsively. In business, it's what separates good managers from strategic thinkers. In life, it's what moves you from cleaning up messes to designing a life you don't need to escape from. Now you might ask, "But I'm not a strategist, how can I develop systems thinking?" Good news. You don't have to be a pro, you just need to train 3 habits. 1. Ask deeper questions instead of quick ones. Not just, "Why?" Right pointing arrow, but, "Where is this pattern coming from? What's keeping this in place? What's being rewarded or reinforced here?" 2. Look for links, not just isolated events. For example, if you keep procrastinating, don't just blame laziness. Ask, "How's your sleep? Is your environment full of distractions? Are your goals vague or overwhelming?" 3. Think in loops, not straight lines. Habit right pointing arrow, result right pointing arrow, emotion right pointing arrow, behavior right pointing arrow, back to habit. Change one element, and the whole loop can shift. Systems thinking also makes you more humble and more compassionate. Because you begin to see, person isn't always wrong, they might be stuck in a broken system. A mistake isn't always bad character, but often the product of conditions, pressures, beliefs, and history. A poor result doesn't mean you're a failure. Maybe it's just a sign that your current system doesn't serve you well. Here's one of my favorite metaphors. Imagine you plant an apple tree, but it barely bears fruit. You could get angry, or, if you think in systems, you'd check. Is the soil rich enough? Are there pests? Is the sunlight and water balanced? Because you know, the apple isn't bad, it's just a signal from the system. When you adopt systems thinking, you stop asking, "How do I fix this problem?" and instead start asking, "How can I redesign the system so this problem doesn't repeat?" Average minds treat symptoms. Smart minds fix root causes. Wise minds redesign the system so things work without constant effort. If you start today, even just by looking at one situation from a deeper angle, you're already building one of the most powerful skills of the 21st century. You've just walked through a long journey with me. 35 truths, 35 reflections, 35 lenses that reveal not just the world around you, but who you truly are inside. From the way we think, to the environments we choose, from waking up early to seize the day, to re-evaluating our worth, managing emotions, mastering discipline, setting meaningful goals, and decoding the hidden systems shaping our lives. Each truth is just a piece. But when you put them together, they become a map. A clear, grounded map for anyone who wants to live consciously, intentionally, and courageously. And you know what? Not everyone is patient enough to follow this map to the end. Most people give up halfway. Because they're tired, because they're distracted, because life's noise pulls them away. But you, if you're still listening now, are already different. You chose to pause, to reflect, to think instead of react. And that choice? That's already a breakthrough. Let me be honest. Watching this video won't make life magically easy. There is no 35-step formula that can transform your life overnight. But if you carry even one moment of clarity forward, if you commit to becoming just a little bit better, just a little bit more aware, more intentional, more you, then every one of these truths today can slowly become habits. Habits can become identity, and identity becomes destiny. And maybe, one day soon, you'll realize you're no longer trying hard to live well, you are living well. You're no longer chasing success, it's drawn to you by the energy you radiate. You're no longer imitating others because you've become the example. Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you deserve. And you only begin to deserve more when you're willing to face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. These 35 truths weren't meant to overwhelm you. They were meant to wake you up, to help you stand taller, see clearer, and walk forward with ownership. Because at the end of the day, you get to choose how you live. Will you chase life, or create it? Will you react, or design? Will you be led, or become the one who leads? You can continue as you are. But if you want a different outcome, then this is your moment. Right now, today, is your chance to begin again. You don't have to change everything at once. Just choose one right thing. And repeat it, consistently. And if one day you feel tired, lost, or ready to quit, come back to this video. Pick any section. Let it remind you, you're not alone. You're moving forward. You've already started, don't stop now. Clapperboard, thank you for being here. This path might be long, but it's the most worthy journey of all. The journey back to the best version of you. Let's meet at the destination. Not as who we were, but as who we've grown to be. Deeper, stronger, freer than ever before.